the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon all the time. Duh. For the best deal, gotta be Wendy's. U.S. price and participation may vary.
Swapping out your tires? There's nothing like it. With eBay, you find the feel you're looking for, from smooth highway rides to grip for rough terrain. Get all the tires you need at the prices you'll love. eBay. Things people love.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
.30 pitch, and Harper swings and hits one high in the air to right. It's deep. Yastrzemski is back at the track, looking up, and it is gone. A towering fly ball to right that Bryce Harper hits out over the out-of-town scoreboard for his 3rd home run of the season. Strom's pitch, swung on, popped up. This should end it. Harper left to the bag at first. He's under it and calling, and he's got it. And the ball game is over. A 1-2-3 ninth inning for Matt Strom to finish it off. And the Phillies even up the series at a game apiece with a 6-4 win.
Oh, yes. That's how it sounded, courtesy of our friends over at the Phillies Radio Network. A good afternoon, everybody. A little chilly outside. Not holding us back. We got a lot to get to. It's going to warm things up here because bottom line is, folks, what a great time of year. NBA playoffs tipped off last night. Playoffs, it all counts. We are 9 days away. We are 9 days away from the end. That works too. That works too. We are 9 days away. Yeah, that was a fat finger I was going for this one. Yeah.
There it is.
It all works. 9 days away from the NFL draft. And a lot to discuss in the sports world, as I said, across the board. Joining me on this fine program, beautiful Wednesday afternoon, the one and only Mr. Kyle Fisher. A perfect day to have Kyle in here. Of course, does a great job for the fine folks over at Philly Sports Network. You can catch him down at the old ball yard. I love it. I got this image of you and Luke just talking shop, breaking down Phil's box scores, talking about the game. Interviewing the Rob Thompson before the game, post game, getting into players' conversations. Nice work across the board by you and Luke. But great to have you today, Kyle. Excited to have you, sir. How we doing?
Great, man. And you're right. Luke and I have connected down there. Keeps checking in every time he's down. Hey, man, what games you work in this series? We interviewed Cody Clemens together the other day. So it's been good down there. Good start to the season as far as vibes are concerned. I know that the fan base might think differently, but from my perspective, I think things are off to an okay start, despite some of the struggles that they've seen so far to start this season. So,
yeah, look, we expect them to win every game. Is that the issue right now? Are Philly fans a little too fat? Let me ask you that. Because we have had a lot of success, and I think it starts with a lot of the people that push this conversational topic to where it's like they want perfection every day, but you're not going to get that in 162. Guys are going to struggle. Teams aren't locked and loaded with 9 future Hall of Famers, right? Like even the Dodgers have holes.
Exactly.
So a guy like Alec Boehm, who's going to play 140 games, you're going to have to suck it up. He's going to go through stretches. Now, Brandon Marsh is an interesting conversational piece.
Get right into it.
Yeah, because he hasn't had a hit since March.
Yeah, it's not the best start. So, like you said, hasn't had a hit since the calendar turned over to the month of April. I think his batting average is sitting at 100 at the moment, which is not what you want to see from a guy who was challenged to potentially become an everyday player this year, facing left-handed pitching more often. Topper earlier this week said he was going to give him a day or two. There was a chance that it could turn into 3. It turns out it was less than 1. I mean, he didn't hit, but he came in for a defensive replacement Monday, later the same day after Topper said that he may see some time on the bench. He said post game after getting an RBI fly out yesterday, he and Bohm combining to play some small ball, Bohm moving him over, and Mark doing his job getting the ball in the air deep enough to get the run home. He said that felt good, which I would imagine it feels good when you've struggled as hard as he has so far to start the month of April. But it's going to be something worth watching, right? Outfield was an area that a lot of people were hoping the team would address in the offseason. They felt comfortable with who they had, and so far the 9-hole center field specifically has been a struggle to start this young season. So between he and Rojas, Kepler has started to hit the ball a little bit better this past week, but even he got out to a slow start, especially against left-handed pitching. So it's going to be an area to watch closely all season long, that outfield outside of Nick Castellanos for sure.
All right. Well, I don't want to bury the lead. We got to open up with the fact that they were able to win a game at home in a fun game, 6-4 final score against a Giants team that is playing really well to start the season.
Oh, yeah.
Well documented. Of course, we know how good that division is. So all you got to do is take a peek at who they've been up against. And of course, in that first game against the Phillies, they did win. So tonight's game is another interesting spot, right? Like here it is. It's April 16th. No one's losing their minds. No one with a functioning brain isn't losing their minds over anything. But it's one of those games where you want to see you compete against the best of the best. And right now, the Giants are one of the better teams in the National League. Will that be the case come August? I highly doubt it. But at this point in time, this is a team that could actually show you a little something if you're able to come away with the victory, as the Phillies did yesterday, 6-4. But to that conversation, I do want to bring this up. And once again, tonight, game 3 going down to Citizens Bank Park. And you got Aaron Nola on the mound at -148, Robbie Ray +124. We'll get into a little bit more as far as the game for tonight, and especially from the betting perspective. 8's the total in that one. As this team is currently constructed, though, Kyle, do you feel like this team having an opportunity to watch all of Major League Baseball and take a look at who's who and what's what? And it's only been 17, 18 games for everybody out there. But right now, how do you feel about this Phillies team? Is this a real deal contender? Is this a team that needs to make a move? That if they don't make if they don't go out there and get somebody at the trade deadline, that this is a team that just does not have enough when it's going to come around to postseason play? Still too early to say. I don't care. Let's have a fun barroom conversation.
Yeah.
I'm asking you right now, judge this team. Give us your honest opinion. Does this team have enough ammo to get us to the promised land this year?
Yeah, I mean, if guys keep hitting the way that they are, right? If March is hitting the way he is, and Rojas still looks overzealous at the plate, and Stott hasn't found a way to hit left-handers, and Bohm looks like second half, not first half Bohm, then no, they don't have enough ammo. That's obvious, right? The National League is very deep, but if you're assuming that everybody's going to play exactly the same right now, you're assuming that everybody's going to play exactly the same across the entire league, and I think that is unlikely, right? So for the sake of having the fun conversation, though, I promise I won't get into too it's too early talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that when you look at the back of the baseball card for a lot of these guys, and you're more than likely going to regress to what your career averages are, or in maybe Marsh's case, progress to what your season averages are. It's a team that clearly has enough, right? They offensively, you take them as a group, they're hitting better right now than they were through this many games last season. Pitching wise, they're better outside of home runs than they were in almost every category at this point last season. And they won mid-90s games and won the National League East. So clearly they are good enough to be a contender. It's a matter of getting timely hitting. And I think that I'm kind of going to change the conversation on you for a second, but we can stay here. The big thing that I've felt is that the last 3 years, and especially the way that the playoffs ended against the Mets, it's just turned into a hangover this year. I think that a lot of fans feel like I'm seeing a lot of the same things that I saw at the end of last season that I got frustrated about. And what are they fixing? What are they going to do to fix it? People did the exact same thing with the Eagles, and they won the Super Bowl. I mean, at week 4, people were ready to fire Nick Sirianni into the sun. And now they're like, I want him to have my son. He's the greatest coach we've ever had. Like it's I hate to be it's too early guy all the time. But if you put it in NFL terms, by the end of this Giants series, we will be at game 2 of the NFL season. If you talk game equivalency, every every NFL game is equivalent to about 9.5 MLB games when it comes to breaking down 162 versus 17. So 19 games is 2 full NFL games. And at this point, Philly fans were willing to do anything that they could to yell at the sky about the Eagles, right? Well, it's the exact same situation. If the Eagles didn't have that second half the year prior, then that hangover in the first 4 weeks probably would not have felt as intense. And the exact same thing is the case for the Phillies. If they didn't fall one round shorter of the last 3 seasons and look pretty ugly at the end of last season, and then you see some of those things start this season as well, I don't think that it's the same thing, right? If they finished amazingly and just got beat by a hot team at the end of last year, got out hit or whatever, nobody's feeling the way that they feel right now. It's frustrating, but nobody's talking like, oh man, what are they doing? They got to make a move. They have to do something different. Like, it's so early in the season. When you look at who's on this roster and what they have done for this team the last few seasons, there's no reason to think that they won't continue to do the same this year.
All right. Tough matchup as far as pitching is concerned tonight. Robbie Ray on the bump for the Giants this evening at Citizens Bank Park. Robbie Ray off to a great start. 3-0 on the season, 2.93. Again, these guys are punching way above their belt at this point in time. And I'm talking about the Giants as a collective here. Aaron Nola on the flip side, though. Curious to know your thoughts on this one and what we've learned over the years. Like, am I off by thinking I don't remember Aaron Nola coming off to like this bad of a start? Like, this might be the worst career start for Aaron Nola.
Yeah, it feels worse for sure. I don't know if it's drastically worse. I'd have to go back and look at the actual numbers. But he's traditionally been a slower starter. Maybe this is the slowest start he's been off to, but he's typically a slower starter. Topper even mentioned that before the season started. The home run has become an issue for him, allowing the home run. But even last year, allowing a ton of home runs, he still brought his ERA down significantly after a rough start in the early going. So he's a guy who just needs the warm weather to get going, really feel that arm get loose, and he's going to be just fine. I've never been a let's get fired up and concerned about Aaron Nola guy. I think that he falls in the same bracket as how a lot of people got split on Rhys Hoskins, right? Because you either considered him the hero of a rough era, and you were excited to see the stars be put around him, or you just associated him with that bad era because he was one of the few bright points of that time period. And I feel that the same way about Aaron Nola. I think a lot of people associate him with 2016, 2020, before they really got going under they looked good in the first half under Kapler a couple times, but before they really started getting going in 21, 22, 23, there was some rough years, and Aaron Nola was associated with that. So I think that a lot of people, they'll look at the contract and freak out. They'll look at the home run propensity. They'll look at a 5.5 ERA to start the year, and they'll get upset. But we know what he's going to give you 30 plus starts. He's going to give you close to 200 innings. He's going to be a threat to go 7 every game. It might take until May for him to get into that groove, but his ERA is not going to sit this high for very long. And they've done such a good job of making adjustments with pitchers. It seems like his only mistakes always get hit, whereas a lot of guys get away with mistakes. And that's something that obviously you need to control your mistakes. But if you're limiting base runners and you're limiting the mistakes overall, even if a guy catches one and it's a one-run shot, you're still setting your team up for success. So I think he's going to be fine long-term. Whether he wins tonight, that's a different story.
All right, we will go around the division. Interesting day as far as Major League Baseball is concerned, with the Braves and Spencer Strider back to the party. Braves in action early today. The Mets currently trail 3-0 as well to the Twins. They're in early action as well. That's in the 7th inning. But once again, Giants and Phillies round 3 this evening. Really good matchup. Robbie Ray and Aaron Nola going head-to-head. Nola minus 148. Significant favorite, but that's understood, especially when the bats are alive for the Phillies as they were last night. And look, you take a peek at what Schwarber's doing against lefties this year. He's just absolutely tearing them up. He's doing it to everybody. But that's probably something that's playing into this number as well, being as high as it is for Aaron Nola at home, going up against a pretty good Giants team. If I made you make a selection, where are you at on this one? Are the Phillies going to win this series tonight?
Tonight, it's tough. Ray's really good. He's a left-handed pitcher, which they struggle with. I think Schwarber's really the only lefty who's been hitting left-handed pitching at all to start the season. Even I think Stott was like 2 for 24 to start the season.
2 hits last night, baby, though. I know, not
True.
against lefty, but still.
No, him getting hot is important, especially if you're going to have him at the top of the order. I think that having Kyle right behind Bryce has been a bright point. I think that that's very helpful. People want to attack Bryce more. I think he's overswinging as a result. I think he's not used to seeing this many pitches in the zone. Early in games, late, they still pitch around him. I noticed a lot of curveballs on Monday when I was down there to him later in the game, especially. But it's going to be a tough sledding. I want to say that they'll win and they'll build momentum from last night. If you're asking me to put my hard-earned money on something, I might not be able to pick for them. I might find some fun props instead of picking a game to keep my conscience clear. And
I apologize. This is a 4-game series against the Giants.
Yeah. So they have a chance to. If they lose today, they have to fight really hard tomorrow to get the split. So
yeah, and then the Marlins coming on Friday with the electric jerseys, the City Connect.
So yeah, those things look exciting, huh?
You like them? Are you a fan or no?
They're fun. I like the Colorado ones, like the all purple ones. Those are kind of fun. I like when teams take a different approach. Like I don't love the Phillies ones, but it's very different than what you have. So I'm willing to give it a shot.
To me, I think the Phillies understood the assignment, right? If we could pull a phrase from social media 10 years ago, I think they understood the assignment. It's something completely different. The issue that I have and that everybody else has is that I can't get down with not seeing red. Like, it's just the Phillies are red. And when you get out there and you're all blue and the yellow, I like it, but it's just not Phillies. It doesn't speak to me. Red is the Phillies. That's the Phillies color. And
I agree with you. I mean, even the powder blues had the maroon in there, right? I like the maroon. I like the bright red.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It feels weird. At least Colorado, it might be a lighter purple, but they've had purple in their existence since the expansion happened. So Miami, I mean, they've had funky colors forever. I love their old jerseys, the pinstriped the vest jerseys with the shirts underneath and that like almost like neon green. I love that.
Vest jersey.
Them in Colorado used to have the cutoffs. Remember those things were awesome.
Oh yeah.
I had that when I played American Legion back in the day. Such a cool concept.
We're hanging with Kyle Fisher for the first hour here. We got a lot to discuss. We're staying in the world of baseball. And speaking of way too early conversations, again, we'll go ahead and visit the divisions here and talk a little bit more about or focus a little bit more on the Braves and the Mets. But I do want to open it up as far as where we're at right now, early in the season for you. And when we talk about the awards, I was reading an article at MLB.com, early Cy Young questions about the races, and I thought it was a really good piece. Andrew Simon, go check that out, especially if you do wager on the awards, as a lot of us do. It's something to get involved in. The only issue is it takes forever to cash those tickets, but still an interesting conversation to be had. If I had to ask you as far as NL MVP, where do you start the conversation? Who's jumping off the page at you 18 games into the season so far? Who's got Kyle Fisher's eye?
I mean, you start every conversation National League MVP with Shohei Ohtani. There's no question. Yep. It doesn't matter. Even if he got out to a slow start, which he hasn't, he still has to be the number one choice, especially with the possibility that he comes back to pitch this year. If he can put up anything remotely close to what he did offensively last year and add solid pitching on top, he's a runaway shoo-in to win that award. But he's also incredible if he doesn't pitch. So he's an easy choice. I really think that Corbin Carroll has a good shot to be one of the top three vote getters.
Big bounce back season so far. And it's one that I discussed. It's one that I had. But again, I just felt like, all right, am I really going to back up a guy like Corbin Carroll and put my money behind him when you know who's at the top of the list as far as Shohei is concerned? And oh, by the way, still is a plus 220. Fernando Tatis is at 5-1. Corbin Carroll, not to steal your shine, tied with him at this point in time on DraftKings at 5-1 as well.
Yeah, he's got 6 homers already. He's got speed out the wazoo. He's an extra base hit machine. I don't know if he's going to give you 30 to 35 homers, but if he gives you 28 home runs, 35 doubles, and 35 steals, I mean, that's an incredible season and worthy of being one of the top vote getters. And then a guy that I liked a lot, hot start, contract year, is going to be the bell of the ball of free agency this year, and he's playing like he knows it, is Kyle Tucker. I don't know how much of a long shot he is. I know preseason, I think he was plus 900.
7-1.
Okay. So 7-1 for him. I mean, the guy has gotten out to a really strong start, leading the Cubs to a really strong start. Despite the fact that they started the year 0-2 over in Japan, they've come back like gangbusters. What's his numbers right now? He's looking at 5 homers, 18 RBIs, a 1.027 OPS, hitting over 300. I mean, the guy is on fire. He's an outfielder, premium outfielder. He's going to be 29 to start next season. He's in his year 28 season. So you're looking at a 8 to 11 year deal for this guy in the offseason. He's playing like he earned it already. So if he can keep anything close to this up, there's no way you can leave him out of the conversation. But like we said, it starts with Shohei. The guy is just a freak.
Yeah. And again, just having some fun here on April 16th, but it is a fun conversation to have as we all do pay attention to the awards. All right, American League, if I take Judge off the table, where do you go from there?
Bobby Witt.
Okay.
Bobby Witt's incredible. Dude is an amazing shortstop, an amazing dude. I had the pleasure of meeting him in the offseason. He was at a Chiefs game where I was on the sideline with Tracy Wolfs. I think it was may have been the AFC Championship game. But anyway, he was there with Vinny Pasquantino, really nice guys. But taking that out of it, I don't care how nice a guy is. I want to watch how good he is on the field, and this guy is a pleasure to watch. 40-40 potential. I don't know if he'll get there, especially with the home runs, but you could see this guy finish the season with 80-plus extra base hits again, close to 100 RBIs again, and he's going to steal 30 to 40 bags, 30 to 50 bags maybe if he's feeling good. So he's a guy who I would say that's where I would start if you're pulling Judge off the table. From there, I mean, Vlad Guerrero, he already signed the contract, but if he is feeling himself, he's a guy who's always in the conversation. And I know he's always a dark horse, but I always think Jose Ramirez has a really good shot of being in that top 3 vote getting. He's a guy who plays great defense at a premium position in third base. He's going to give you pop. He's going to give you speed. He's not going to strike out a ton. I think he loses a little bit of luster because he plays in Cleveland. I think that if he were on a more mainstream team or a team that was easier in contention every year, because they seem to be in the conversation despite trading away their stars all the time. Jose Ramirez is a guy that, if you want to throw a sprinkle on a longer shot, he's the guy I would probably look at. Yeah,
Bobby Witt Jr. too. I think Bobby Witt. A lot of people do know how great he is. However, if you put him in a different uniform, whether it's on the West Coast, whether it's on the East Coast, Red Sox, Orioles, Kansas City is doing well right now. That Central is a tough division, top to bottom. But you're talking about 2 big names there that if they were anywhere but their current positions or locations, I just think we would know a ton more about them, speaking more about them altogether. All right. We got
Kyle. 88 extra base hits last year, by the way.
Insane. Absolutely insane. All right, let's again talking a little awards quickly over to the Cy Young, and I bring it up because Zach Wheeler right now is 9-1 plus 900. There are 3 pitchers in the National League that currently have better odds to win the Cy Young. Again, only a few starts, handful of starts into the season here, but Zach Wheeler at 9-1. Schwellenbach is in front of him. Hunter Green from the Reds is in front of him. Of course, Paul Skeens. Now Skeens is damn good. We know that.
Really,
Pittsburgh stinks, and nobody's in the ballpark. His strikeout total isn't. Again, we're early. He is going to be dominant. He's going to have a couple of those starts. Is there any way that we should be looking at somebody other than Paul Skeens in the NL Cy Young Award?
I mean, you can't go wrong with Zach Wheeler. He's had multiple top 3 finishes, top 5 finishes in his Phillies career. I think that he's a guy who's going to be there. One guy who's intrigued me a lot in the early season is Yamamoto for the Dodgers. If he's healthy, if he continues to look like he has in the early going this season,
good
he is
number
going to be
Kyle. Good number, 16 plus 1,600.
Okay,
that's a nice number.
Yeah, so I like Yamamoto a lot. He's been exciting to watch specifically. But the guy who makes me drop my jaw the most watching is Paul Skeens. It's really hard to pick somebody besides him right now. The one person I would say who's probably not on many current odds lists is Spencer Strider. He got activated for a start today. Went 5 strong scoreless innings. I think that they're losing right now, but I believe I don't think he gave up any runs. I know that he went 5+ in his first start today. So I could be wrong with the score. I don't know if he gave up the
No, they
two
were
or if they scored
trailing.
the
They
two
were down.
after,
They were
so.
down 2-0, 3-0, whatever it was. It was 2-0 in the 7th when we started the show.
Okay. So yeah, but he's a guy who, when he's healthy, is always up there as far as odds. He gave up 2 runs today. So, but he's a guy that I would always consider. He's so good. The breaking pitch is nasty. He plays it off his fastball well. He's one of the first guys where I remember of this next generation being like, oh, like eye-opening. Wow, this guy has electric stuff. So he's somebody that I would say if there's good odds on him right now, since he wasn't healthy to start the season, he's worth a look for sure.
Yeah, the Spencer Strider, as we're live doing this show right now, he makes MLB strikeout history and Braves ace first major league start since 2004 UCL surgery. I'm pulling this up now on CBS Sports.
What did he do?
He delivered 5 innings and would also serve his first appearance since missing. Strider surrendered 2 runs and a walk in 5 hits, including a solo home run to Vlad in the closing moments of his outing. He struck out 5 of the 21 batters he faced, giving him 500 for his career. All right, so he only struck out 5. But again, the funny thing, yeah, exactly. I was listening to a conversation 2 nights ago on MLB Network, and they were asking, what would you say is a perfect game from a pitching perspective if you were a pitcher? Would you rather go in there and in every inning, it's 1 pitch to each batter, 3 outs? So, boom, you do the
27 pitches.
Correct. Or is it 3 pitches, 3 strikes to every batter, and you mow down 27 strikeouts?
Oh, it's that one. It's the 27 strikeouts.
I disagree.
Oh, come on.
Are you kidding me? 3 pitches, 3 outs? There's nothing better than that.
No, but as a pitcher, as a
man.
team, I want the 20. Yeah, in and out, man. Let's go. Light work. Get us back out there hitting so we can destroy these guys. If I'm the pitcher, I want the glory, man.
Yeah, you're right.
If I know by the end I'm on pace to get 27, I'm going for 27 on 3 pitches each. To me, that's and that's only 81 pitches. You're still not overworking. That's like a Greg Maddux outing.
Unbelievable.
That would be insane.
Did you say he's the fastest to 500 in MLB history?
Yeah, by innings pitched, Spencer Strider is the fastest primarily starting pitcher to reach 500 strikeouts. So, and that's missing a lot of time with an injury, right? So he's already showing historic numbers. I'm watching a highlight on Twitter right now. The quads on this guy are insane. I mean, how could you not be intimidated looking at that guy with the weird mustache and the huge quads? Oh man,
Quad
this
Talk.
guy.
We'll have to make that a segment next time you're on Quad Talk. I'm a guy that will.
Right.
I will eye up a lower half of a pitcher, and I will talk about the calves with Mark Pryor. I've gotten into these conversations before. I'm not scared. I'm comfortable as a man. I'm a married man. I do want to say this though. I think just as a man that's straight, I just want to give some props. And I saw it last night. Luzardo might be the most attractive player in Philadelphia sports right now. That's an attractive dude last night.
Handsome guy, huh? My goodness. I didn't think that there could be a more handsome Philly than Nick Castellanos.
That's what I'm saying.
And they traded for this guy. I mean, come on.
I saw a picture of him or a video of him in the post game, and I'm like, who the hell is that? That's Luzardo? I mean, he looks like a male model. He really does.
He takes the specs off, and you're like, dude.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Good looking dude right there. See, look, we're comfortable.
We're
comfortable. We can spit game all day.
Man. That's a good looking team, top to bottom, Phillies.
Currently, Blue Jays are up 3-0 over the Braves over the Braves. And that game is in the 7th. Twins currently up over 3-0 over the Mets. That game is currently in the 8th as well. Staying in the division. Way too early conversation to be had, but Mets showing some promise. 11-6 right now. Phillies 10-7. Marlins 8-8. Nats 7-10. Braves 5-12. Let's start with the Braves. We went into this multiple times. No team has ever started the season, I think, 0-7, made the playoffs. I didn't care about that. A lot has changed in the game of baseball with the addition of the playoff spot, wild card, so on and so forth. Like, I still believe the Braves are going to be fine, and they will make a run, and they will be close to 90 wins after it's all said and done. Do you agree with me on that? And if you don't, I don't think you're on an island by yourself. They dug themselves a pretty big grave at this point in time, and they're 5-12. You got to hit the gas pedal eventually.
Yeah, I think that I would have confidently said they will be above 90 wins if they didn't have a guy get suspended for 80 games and have their second best pitcher before Strider returned have to get shoulder surgery and potentially be out for the season. The rough start, plus losing the only guy you signed as a free agent in the offseason for 80 games, plus potentially losing Ronaldo Lopez for the entire season is going to make it really tough. That being said, Strider is a great replacement. You can't get much better than that. And Acuna's coming back any day now. And I think when he comes back, he's going to be on fire. And I think that team really goes as he goes. You think about 2 years ago when the Braves looked like world beaters, right? Where everybody on their team was having a career season. And it was led by a 40-70 season by Ronald Acuna. He goes down last year. Everybody looks rough. He goes down this year again. Everybody looks rough. So they go as he goes despite all the star power on that team. And I think that once he gets back, you're going to see something similar where that team has a really hot 2 months and puts themselves right back in the middle of things in that NL East.
You know, it's funny because these are the conversations we had all throughout the course of the offseason. And these are the thoughts that we brought to the table about what's going to plague this team, right? And here we are with the Braves. It just feels like they're trying to figure it out, and it's early, and the bats will get it going. You saw them take 2 or 3 against the Phillies. You know what that pitching staff is capable of. I think they have a pretty good bullpen. There's a lot to like about Atlanta. The Mets, over to the Mets. I feel like they're playing way above my expectation. I thought that they were going to be a good team. I had them making the playoffs, but maybe I downplayed the Mets a little bit too much. Where are we at right now in your mind, Kyle, when it starts talking about the Mets, who are currently in first place in the NL East?
Yeah, I think they are playing above their heads a little bit. Offensively, they're a really strong team. It's not that I'm concerned about them offensively. It's more that the pitching is a surprise to me. I thought that their pitching moves were very weird in the offseason. It was a lot of guys that they were trying to make work as opposed to guys that were guarantees. And when you're spending the kind of money that you spend on Juan Soto, you might as well just keep spending, was kind of my thought process. But they're surviving. They have Clay Holmes throwing well as a starter. He was a middling reliever, was one time a closer for the Yankees and didn't pitch all that well. Kodai Senga being healthy is going to do a lot for them. But like Tyler McGill, they're relying on Griffin Canning and David Peterson. I don't know how long that lasts, right? Those are guys that kind of I not to insult these guys, but the general way I think of them is like they're waiver wire pickups in fantasy. That's a guy that I'm going to stream for a week because I need a 2-star guy, and he starts Monday and Saturday, right? Like that's not Griffin Canning isn't a guy I'm going to make or break my season on. He's a guy that I'm going to pick up for a week and let go a week later for somebody else just like him. That's of course talking fantasy terms, and it's nice to have some stability and depth there. But if your stability and depth is a bunch of number 3, number 4 starters, and you're relying on Kodai Senga to carry the rest of the weight, well, we've seen how that happens for teams elsewhere. You know, one guy can't really carry things for an entire squad. But if Clay Holmes keeps pitching this way, then what do I know? You know, that they clearly saw something that they liked in him. I was really surprised that they weren't one of the teams to bring to really push to get Jose Quintana back. I thought he pitched really well for them last year, and he's now a Milwaukee Brewer. But like McGill, Holmes, Peterson, that doesn't do anything for me, and I'd be shocked if it continues to do what it's doing right now for the Mets all season.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. We'll see how it plays out. Way too early, but these are fun conversations to have. Of course, Kyle Fisher riding with me here for the first hour. Make sure you're following Kyle. He does a great job over at the Philly Sports Network. You can find him on socials at Kyle Fisher 45. Kyle Fisher 45. Did I ever ask you why 45?
It was the jersey number when I was a vendor at the stadium.
See, great piece too about the
Thanks,
dollar.
man. Appreciate that. Yeah,
Yes,
wrote that last year. Sat down with an idea like this might be fun, and then I I mean, I hate to say this because it's overdone, but it's almost like I lost myself while I was writing it, and then I was done. I was like, oh, that was a lot of like personal stuff that I just put into that thing. That was crazy. I put a little ode to. I'm a big fan of the Dan Le Batard show. They have a guy on there who's a Miami Herald writer, Greg Cody. Shouts to Greg Cody.
Love Greg.
They do a little a rejoin.
Greg's a nice dude, man.
Really
nice guy. Yeah,
so generous with his time for how big shot he is or could be. He's really generous with his time. But they do a rejoin when they come back from commercial, and they read something from one of his pieces, and they laugh really hard at it because it's so well written. Like, this was a throwaway piece about nothing. Like, if you wrote everything the way that you wrote this one paragraph, you'd be like America's greatest author. And I always thought it was funny to put stuff, make this really flowery and wordy thing about something so stupid, right? So I took I took inspiration from that rejoin for the final paragraph in that piece and really loved it. So
nice.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you giving that one a shout. That one's fun.
Absolutely, man. In the Metro, that's where you can find all the Philly Sports Network's pieces over there. Great crew. And of course, Kyle does a bang-up job covering all things Phillies. Let's keep it moving. Other side, as I said, we are 9 days away from the NFL draft. I want to focus on a gentleman by the name of Ashton Jeanty, who was a pretty good running back. Where is he going to end up? And of course, I do want to point this out. We got a lock, stock, and barrel day of programming coming your way. At 4:00, you are going to hear Ryan Beefcoil and Nick McClay discuss the upcoming NFL draft, and they have some sleepers to pay attention to. These guys have been crushing our draft coverage for us here on The Gambler. So that's coming your way in the next hour. At 5:00. NBA playoffs are here. The play-in games last night lacked a little bit, but still was pretty cool to see Jimmy Butler turn back the hands of time, in my opinion, and Steph Curry as well, as they beat the Memphis Grizzlies. Now they get the Houston Rockets, but we got two more tonight. Anyways, Sean Bernard joins me at 5:00 live, picks and roll coming your way, talking all things NBA playoffs. We'll look ahead to the 7-game series that are in the first round that start on Saturday, but a heavy conversation about what took place last night and the 2 games going down tonight at 6:00. Yes, PGA Tour, baby, front and center. The Truist Championship is coming to the Philadelphia Cricket Club, and the Gambler will be broadcasting live on Thursday to get the party started. And it was announced. It was announced today that the one and only Rory McIlroy, best player in the game of golf right now, will be playing at the Truist Championship, so he will be there. We're talking about this is going to be an amazing event, and the Gambler will be front and center. Can't wait for that. So swing it and ding it. We are not doing any of this without those guys, Moose, Mays, and Danielle. Of course, that's coming away at 6:00.
Fellow Temple alum.
There you go. And last but not least, at 7:00, we send it back to Sean Bernard and Sam Ostry. They did a full NBA preview of the playoffs. I'm running it back. It's too good just to play one day. It still has shelf life. So we're going to run that back at 7:00, where they previewed all the games. I just snipped what took place last night, so you get a little of their conversation about tonight. And, of course, the 7-game series that are fast approaching as far as all of those great NBA playoff matchups. Kyle's hanging with me. Other side, a lot to do. Do not go anywhere more after this.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Heads up the westbound Schuylkill, crawling fair to south with a disabled vehicle in the left lane. Further west, heavy from Belmont to Conshohocken and Blue Route to Gulf Mills. Eastbound Jan 202 to Gulf Mills. And so Montgomery Drive to south. All right, to tell it, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. It's time to bring people back into the hiring process. If posting jobs online and screening applicants is failing, turn to the experts, Express Employment Professionals. Go to ExpressPros.com to find the location near you. Express blends tech with local support. That's ExpressPros.com.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know.
Dr. Joelle Mogerman, President and CEO of the Philadelphia Zoo.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
DraftKings presents a message on responsible gaming.
If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right.
Whatever your wager, sometimes
you got to know when to hold 'em.
There are no locks or sure things, so
know when to fold 'em.
And if you feel like you're ready for a break,
know when to walk away.
Remember, it's more fun when it's for fun.
When the dealing's done.
Well said, man. Well said. At DraftKings, we believe it's more fun when it's for fun, and we want it to stay that way. We provide customers with helpful tools so they can set budgets, limits, and cool-off periods, and we encourage all customers to use these tools. So play responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus. Agent eligibility varies by jurisdiction.
This is Joe Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the nation's largest family law firm, but we're more than just size. We're part of your community. With offices across the country, our attorneys and staff live and work where you do. And because we're local, we know your courts and your legal community. When divorce puts your future on the line, you need a firm that's both powerful and personal.
Offices in Philadelphia, Radnor, and Allentown, Pennsylvania, and Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only. Michelle Ferrari, licensed in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. CordellCordell.com.
The new iHeart app just looks better.
The best feature of a car radio on the app.
It's the presets.
Super easy.
And thank you for keeping it free.
Get in on what everyone's talking about and get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today.
Bring spring to your door with Target Circle 360. Get all you need for Easter hosting, spring get-togethers, and more with unlimited same-day delivery through Target Circle 360. From Easter basket goodies to fresh florals, getting everything the same day is easy. Open the Target app and bring the magic of the season to your door with unlimited same-day delivery through Target Circle 360. Visit target.com/circle or the Target app for more details. Subscription required. Same-day delivery is subject to terms. Applies to orders over $35.
Are you a business owner, CEO, or responsible for marketing? If you are, iHeartMedia can help you reach your goals and find new customers. We reach more consumers in your target area than anyone else, and we can give you access to those potential customers more cost-effectively across radio, digital, podcasting, and social. We'd love to show you how iHeartMedia can work for you. Get started today by calling 844-844-iHeart. That's 844-844-iHeart.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
Pitch. JT swings, hits one high in the air, deep left center field. Ramos back to the track, at the wall, and it is off the top of the wall. It comes down in play. I think they're saying a home run. JT on his horse into third. Now they're signaling home run.
Yeah, it was a home run. And I'll tell you what, Kyle Fisher, a man who's been down at Citizens Bank Park a hell of a lot more than any of us. As how many years did you work as a vendor? Ooh, what's going on? You on mute? You on mute there? You muted yourself. Hey. Can't unmute the guest. It's up to the guest to unmute themselves.
Am I good?
There you go.
There we go. Sorry about that.
How many years?
15 years as a vendor, and now my second down there in the press box.
How many beers have you poured over the years, Kyle Fisher?
Oh, boy.
Give us a number.
At Phillies games in my heyday, I was probably selling anywhere from 5 cases a game, working 60 to 70. And then Eagles, it's like 10 cases a game.
Come on.
I mean, you're talking about 200. If you're talking just Eagles, it's 240 times 8, whatever that comes out to. 108 or 1,800 some beers at Eagles games a year. Phillies games, it's, let's call it 50 times 5 cases. 5 times 24 is a number that I don't want to calculate. 120 times 60 is another number that I don't want to calculate.
Rain Man right now doing the math. Give me a ballpark number, damn it.
I mean, a season, I'd say it's probably like 800 to 1,000 a
game.
It's 24 beers a case, 24 beers in a case, 5 cases a game. So it's like 500 beers.
Wow. All right. Well, there's
500 some beers a game.
500 beers a game. All right.
No, I'm sorry. 500 beers like a week. 500 some beers a game. So.
All right. Well, that was,
That was a terrible attempt at math for a
that's
guy.
all right. I won't throw anything at you ever again where you have to pull out a calculator. Okay?
Yeah, man. That's put me on the spot like that.
Let me give it to you.
My Lord.
That's all right. Kyle Fisher joining us here, having some fun today. Anyways.
Something interesting before we move on from Philly.
No, I brought it up because of the wind. Kyle, have you ever seen anything like that yesterday? That was the most ridiculous wind in my neck of the woods, and I know you live near me. It was crazy. I was like, I've never felt wind like this before, and I obviously like storms, but there was no storm. It wasn't rain. It was just whipping wind, and it was doing that. We saw a video from a guy that works at another radio station. He was out there, and his flagpoles were moving.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't think we were going to see any home runs, so I bring that up because JT's home run was pretty impressive.
Yeah, the wind was pretty nuts. I mean, it was the first thing that people asked about when Topper had his pregame availability. It was I've seen crazy wind down there, but it's few and far between. So to see that wind last night, and then it all seemed to be blowing out to right field, which makes the home runs are pretty impressive. Harper's looked like it wasn't going to get out either, and it ended up getting over by a few rows. I usually try and judge by the fielder when I'm unsure, especially by the wind. And that guy was tracking. T-Mac said pretty quickly that it hit the emphasis in his voice made it seem like he knew it was gone, but the fielder wasn't convinced until it finally went over his head. So that wind was pretty nuts. Like you said, that JT home run even more impressive as a result.
You're right about that. All right, keeping it moving. Once do want to update some live action. Mets tied the game up 3-3. Man, that's a feisty bunch of Metropolitan players they got there. Anyways, they are now tied up in the 9th. That means they got 3. Did they get 3 in the top of the 8th? They're ending the 9th itself. Wow. I don't have it in front of me, but it's late. It's either in the 8th or 9th, so same difference there. They ended up tying the game up, so we'll keep you posted on as far as that is concerned. NBA hoops conversation coming your way at 5 o'clock. We'll talk about both play-in games going down tonight. Some slight line movement at this point in time. The Bulls are 2-point favorites, 220 over the Miami Heat. That bumped up from about a point. Some money coming in on the Bulls. No surprise. Bulls are 3-0 versus the Miami Heat this year. And to put a bow on that conversation, 3-0 since February. So all 3 games between these two teams took place after February 6th. Bulls 3-0 in those games. They're 2-point favorites at home. And tonight, the Dallas Mavericks without Luka, unbelievable. Still can't believe he's not a member of that team. Sacramento Kings are 4.5-point favorites. 213 is your total in that one. That's a really tough ball game for me to pick, but I have to go with the Dallas Mavericks. They've been showing some fight. Anthony Davis has been playing well. I like them to cover that number and potentially pull off the upset. We'll break that one down a little bit more later in the day here on The Gambler. Kyle, though, did you pay attention to any of the games last night? Because the Warriors start and finish. I get it. The Memphis Grizzlies aren't the Lakers. They aren't the Oklahoma City Thunder. But it's not about them. It's about Steph Curry, who's won multiple championships. It's about Jimmy Butler, who turns it on this time of year. It's about Steve Kerr, who's a hell of a coach as well. They have some pretty good pieces surrounding those two guys. But if you get that type of production from Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry, albeit they scored 78 last night combined between the two, but is it that much of a stretch to believe that Jimmy and Steph are still going to get theirs night in, night out? Because it's the playoffs. So the Warriors, do you consider them a championship contender right now, Kyle?
Yeah, they have to be considered a legitimate threat. You have 2 guys with a lot of playoff experience, one with multiple championships under his belt. It's a team that, they're a little bit older and they might not look like the Warriors of old, but they're a team that is clearly legitimate. And with Jimmy looking as healthy as he has recently, I think that's a big difference. Is he going to drop 37, 38 every night? Probably not. But those 2 guys mix very well. You're talking about an inside game versus an outside game. You can have both going at the same time without taking away from the other one, right? Clearly, it worked having the Splash Brothers there for so long. But those 2 guys, different versions of a 3-point shot, but they both relied heavily on the 3. Obviously, not the same build as they once were, but you have two guys who are going to get in and know how to pass the ball, know how to get a shot up in Draymond and Jimmy. Jimmy can get you 25 a night. Steph obviously averaged almost 24 and a half this season. And if he gets on one like he did late in the game last night, I mean, how can you not put them up there with anybody? I don't know how they played against Houston this year, but I'd put them up against anybody right now based on how they played last night alone.
I agree. After the game, Steve Kerr on Jimmy Butler.
In these big moments, these big games, he just settles you down constantly. He just told me, I don't care who guards me, just give me space, give me the ball, I'll make something happen. And that's the beauty of Jimmy. We have morphed into a different team. We've got the movement and the flow of Steph, but we've also become, for half the game, a great ISO team. We've never been an ISO team here. There's great advantage to that. Jimmy has completely changed everything for us since he's been here, and tonight was a great example.
It's unbelievable, man. The numbers since he's been a part of the team, they put this out there yesterday during the broadcast when Jimmy Butler joined the Golden State Warriors. Record-wise, Golden State was 17th in the NBA. They're now 3rd since the trade. Defensive rating, they were 10th, now best since the trade. Turnovers forced, they were 15th at the point in time of the trade. They're now the best team. The free throw percentage, they were last. Listen to this. They were last in free throw percentage at the time in the NBA. And in the trade, since the trade, they're second best. This is insane what Jimmy Butler has been able to do to that franchise. And you would never think it. We just, like, as good as Jimmy Butler was, like, he was going down a different path. And it just felt like, all right, maybe Jimmy's time is over, right? He's getting a little older. He wasn't that good in Miami. But no, it was clearly not that, because you got him into this position playing around these type of players with championship caliber potential. And he has been an extreme difference maker. And you saw it last night. So I'm with you, man. They have to be discussed in that conversation when you bring up championship contenders, especially in that high potent West.
For sure, man. He is a difference maker. He's a guy, he might not get talked about in the same way that Harden and Embiid do when it comes to getting your shot and getting to the line, but he's been that guy his whole career. He's a gritty player. He's a guy who's gonna fight for every shot, fight for every inch. He's gonna play hard on defense. It's a guy who is a difference maker on a team that was you always think of the Warriors as a potential for a playoff run, even if they're not the same team they once were. And he can clearly he's been a difference maker for them, though. It's wild to see what he's done for them.
All right, we got a lot to discuss, a lot of time to discuss the NBA, because if you don't know, you should know by now that the NBA playoffs take 3 months. Literally. It feels like
it takes forever.
Does the NBA when is the NBA champion? NBA championship date. June 5th. All right, so April, May into June. So we could say 3 months to complete, but not exactly 90 days. I think people would understand that. Anyways, I did want to get your thoughts on this one, because we are 9 days away from the NFL draft. Do you have your eyes set on anybody from the perspective or a position for the Eagles? How are you going about, from an Eagles fan's thoughts, as we head into the draft in Green Bay at the end of the month? Again, 9 days away. Expectations. I'll tell you what, Kyle, this team won the Super Bowl, and it is just not interest, because I'm always intrigued by what the Eagles are doing, but man, they're on the back burner. Like, when it comes to people forcing topics down my throat, I don't want to hear it. You got this dude, Chase Daniel, who's making a name for himself, just being a troll and talking about, like, I don't care. If you say something negative about Jalen Hurts right now, it tells me all I need to know about you. So, like, when it comes to the NFL draft for the Eagles, I'm like, all right, how he's going to wheel and deal. He's going to make a play. I'm sure they have a couple players in mind at that position that they're drafting. But all in all, my expectations are ho-hum. Like, I got zero interest from the Eagles' perspective at this point in time going into the NFL draft. I hate to say it, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing. They just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's the opposite of like when they're really struggling, you're like, I don't even know where to start. Just pick whoever's the best player available is. It's like,
yeah,
look at what they've done with draft picks in late rounds, with the draft picks that they have to trade to move up. They're going to make moves, whether it be players or picks, on the day of. So I haven't paid too much attention. but you asked me what would I target if I'm them. I mean, I would probably start with defensive line just to add depth there. It's always good to have extra edge rushers. I like having an extra defensive tackle. I would start there. Maybe in a later round you go O-line, but you're talking you need a safety. But I think they're going to let these cornerbacks continue to develop. They're going to let the two guys they drafted last year run the show. I don't think there's no obvious standout need, right? Like, sure, you could draft a tight end to start training under Goddard, just like Goddard did Ertz and Ertz did, who was it before? Well, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but anyway, they've done this the last few years with tight ends. It's like every 5 or 6 years they draft another guy to start working behind the guy before him. So it's Brent Selleck. That's why I don't know why I forgot.
Oh yeah, pretty big piece.
Yeah,
he's doing well in the real estate game. I was reading an article about him. He's doing well.
That? Yeah. But yeah, I'd probably go defensive tackle. Like Walter Nolan's been mentioned in a few mock drafts out of Ole Miss. I've liked what I've seen on video from him, but I'm not a video breakdown. I don't know everything that I'm looking at when I'm watching video, right? He looks really strong, but we'll see how that translates to the NFL. And I don't expect them to necessarily sit at 32 in that first round. So we'll see what happens, but it's not worth diving into because they have so much flexibility from my perspective. And you know me, I'm a baseball guy first, and obviously I'm going to pay attention to the draft as we come up on it. But there's moves to be made, and how he's proven that he's going to make them. So we'll see what they're even looking at when it comes to first round and maybe those first 2 days. But personally, I'd go either edge rusher or defensive tackle first.
Look, there are a lot of really good players in this draft, depending on what position. Of course, some are stronger than others. I think this does have a good, solid top 5 with names that we know very well at this point in time. Guys like Travis Hunter, of course, Abdul Carter. No need to go into any deeper than that. Shedeur Sanders is fetching a lot of attention. That's understood. We know Cam Ward's going number 1 overall. So there is a lot of good topics that we can focus on when it comes to the NFL draft. But down the way, I start to wonder about what these other teams in the division are going to do, specifically the Commanders, who have a lot of good things going right now, and the Cowboys. Like, can the Cowboys, who most of the time love to take shots, love to go and swing for the fences, and like a CeeDee Lamb, not swing for the fences, because he was drafted a little bit later in that round, but they're not scared to take a big name. They don't really care what is being said. And specifically, I'm bringing that up because of a guy like Ashton Jeanty, who was an unbelievable running back last year, had a great college career. We know that. We know that the emphasis as far as running backs, having a good running back now is starting to come back to what it used to be. All that being said, good luck with a good running back and not having a at least an average offensive line. I don't know where we rank the Cowboys, but Jeanty is a guy that can go out there and handle his own. I mean, he is just a stud, a workhorse, a true bell cow back. He will be there for the Cowboys. I've been looking at mock drafts. Some have him in the top 10. Some have him sliding. I don't think he's going to slide, but I do think the Cowboys will have a shot at selecting Jeanty at 12. If that's the case, does that send up any alarm bells for you? Do any whistles go off? Like Jeanty and the Cowboys, man, that's going to be a pretty good combination in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, Dak isn't necessarily a guy who is known as a runner, and they haven't gotten much production out of the running back position these last, especially last year. After we saw they tried to bring back what's his name, and it didn't work out. He's over the hill now. They let
Zeke.
Yeah, and they brought
Zeke back.
It's they thought that would work. It didn't. Like you said, running back matters to an extent, right? We got to see how this guy adjusts to the NFL. And you need an offensive line to truly let him do that. Where their offensive line, even if it's middle of the pack, if this guy continues to fight through contact like he did in the college ranks, then yeah, he's a real threat, and that evolves their offense. They already have strong weapons in the receiving core. A healthy Dak is still a good Dak. I don't think that there's a lot of Eagles fans who hate on him. I think that he's a really strong quarterback. I don't know if I'd ever put him in a top 5 conversation or anything like that, but he's really good if they can draw things up for him to make him look even better. And if you add the true threat of a running game as opposed to the perceived one with Zeke being over the hill, he's a guy who who can make every throw. And if Genty can do a little bit to give them different looks, it's clearly a threat. But to me, I always I'm always big on building in the trenches. And if they don't have an offensive line, or if they're an injury away from concerns there, then it doesn't matter who you pick at running back if they're running into a brick wall every single time. So
they did sign Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams, so that might take them out of the running for a guy like Genty. But it's Jerry. You know how he operates, man.
Yeah, he likes big names.
Yep, and Genty is that. So we'll see. Is there a guy that you have your eyes on as far as the draft is concerned that you think is a huge difference maker for anybody that gets them?
Abdul Carter's insane. I know that we're talking about, top 3. He's a guy who's going to be a difference maker immediately. So every place has him going to the Giants. I'm not looking forward to facing him twice a year.
That means the Browns pass on him. If you're Cleveland, do you do that?
No, a lot of places have them taking Sanders, but I'm not big on taking a quarterback when you have a ton of holes. I know that I'm in the minority on that. People want to take a quarterback to give their fans promise, but if you have nobody to protect the quarterback, it doesn't matter how good the quarterback is. So to me, I wouldn't take them. Maybe they take Travis Hunter just to kind of potentially fill 2 holes with one. They like to be creative and take big names. And then Carter there would fall to the Giants. Maybe they do take Carter and then Hunter's there for the Giants instead. But most of the places I'm seeing are either Hunter or Sanders going to Cleveland, and then Carter ending up in New York. So, Hunter is the most intriguing one, right? If he's really dead set on playing both positions, what's that going to look like? How's he going to have the stamina when the game evolves, when the game and the speed changes, and not only the speed, like the energy of the game is different. The strength of the players are different. Everything about the game is so much different at the NFL level than it is the college ranks. So we'll see how long that lasts, but he's the most intriguing prospect for sure, because when's the last time you saw a guy come out and say, no, I am playing both positions, both sides of the ball in the NFL?
Yeah, it's very, very interesting, and I'm pulling for him. But I do think, in this day, in today's NFL, you're asking for it. If you believe that you can go out there and get a certain amount of snaps, and that involves both ways. His number one concern is he's got to be available. And that would be the first thing that goes through my mind is like, man, if he's playing both ways, I cannot afford to get him dinged up. And look, I also respect it, because if you want to make a name for yourself and do something that really hasn't ever been done and build your legacy as such, he is good enough to do it at the collegiate level. Is he good enough to do it at the NFL? Let's see what he's got. He's a hell of a prospect, and I am pulling for him. I just am a little concerned when it comes to that. I'd still, where's the money at? That's where I follow. He'll make more money on this side of the ball, then that's what he's going to play. That's been my thought process all along. But if you listen to him, he wants to play both ways. I do want to bring this up. We just got a brand new mock draft from Fantasy Pros. Everyone's doing a mock draft. That's fine. And including, we're going to have one coming up here, our first mock draft with Mark Henry Jr. and Ryan Beefcoil and Nick McClay. So I'm looking forward to hearing what those guys have. But right here, they got Genty, Pat Fitzmaurice from Fantasy Pros. He's got Ashton Genty going 6 to Vegas, which is awesome. I like that. I love that. It's a big-time deal, a lot of attention, and, of course, swing for the fences. Why not? They have Cam Ward going 1, no surprise there. Travis Hunter 2, and then Carter going 3 to the New York Giants. And that's not what we want to see, because now you're talking about a pretty good defense. If you add a guy like Abdul Carter to your defense, it only lifts it up, man. He was a freak at Penn State last year, and I do expect him to be able to be explosive at the next level. So that's only going to help things out on the defensive side of the ball for the Giants. Offensively, they're atrocious, and they're going to be in trouble all season long. But Abdul Carter could be somebody that's wreaking havoc on the defense side of the ball for the Giants for years to come in the division.
Yeah, I would not be a fan of him going there. I think he may end up going there. I think Cleveland, they like flashy names as well for how much it hasn't paid off. Yeah. I think that Hunter going there might be the biggest chance for him to truly play both sides of the ball a lot. But from my perspective, if I'm a team picking the top 5, I want to guarantee at a position that's going to be my be my top guy there in the next few years. And I'm worried that if he's insistent on playing both sides of the ball, that he's going to end up being a part-time player at both positions, because it's impossible to just stay on the field that long. You need a rest. You need a break. Is he going to be a third string wide receiver and a third string cornerback or a nickel guy? Or is he going to be a starter at one and maybe fill in an emergency in the other? And I think that's the way you get to find out, is by going to a bad team and letting them mess around with it, right? And Cleveland's bad enough where they're probably going to let him run until he decides what's best for him and what's best for them. So, it'd be interesting. I definitely want to avoid Carter. So I would, as an Eagles fan, selfishly, I would love it if Cleveland took him so he can't go to the New York Giants. But we'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah,
Cleveland is an interesting wild card every year. So
the NFL draft in Green Bay this year, and we'll see what it looks like. I know that there's a lot of history right there with the Packers at Lambeau Field, and ESPN will do a great job. But man, I am like my number one deal. I'm looking forward to seeing where Genty lands. Big fan of him. Of course, how the top 5 plays out. And Shedeur Sanders. There's a lot of hype, a lot of fanfare right now. I'm starting to read things like you're going to see Dart going to top 10. You're going to see Sanders be trade up and get. People want to sit there. I caught this video yesterday on VSiN where this dude's young daughter busts in while he's live. And the comment he's making is that he's got Sanders falling to 20th. And I'm just like, I could see a team saying, nope, we're going to trade up and get a guy like that. And they should, because Sanders is a good quarterback. He is a good quarterback. There's a play out the next level. Dude, it's all about what's upstairs.
Oh, yeah.
I would be willing to give him an opportunity. Now, am I saying a top 3 pick? Depends how desperate. If I'm the Giants, it's tough. It's tough. I would do anything and everything to go get a quarterback that isn't Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston. That's for damn sure. But when you got the 3rd overall pick, get a guy like Abdul Carter. Maybe you trade back up. You pull like a Houston Texans like they did a couple years ago with C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson. If you can get a guy like Abdul Carter and then get back into top 10, top 5 and get a guy like Shedeur Sanders, how are you not excited? Like that automatically shifts expectations and thoughts from your fan base as a whole versus going into this season with no hope. Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson aren't starting quarterbacks. Like they're decent, but darn well that pick 6 are coming and Russ just isn't good enough. And I liked Russ at Pittsburgh, but he showed all I needed last year. And especially with that team, with all their holes, Russell Wilson isn't going to be effective. Shedeur is something that you can build off of, get him in there, get him in the opportunity. We'll see. But the Giants haven't been making right calls in the past few seasons, so I don't expect them to get this one right either. Anyways, final thoughts before we get out of here. Kyle hung with me for the first full hour and then some. Thank you very much. What do you got cooking, man? What's the latest that we can read over on the Metro and all that good stuff? What do you got cooking right now?
So right now, nothing too exciting. I just put out a piece earlier this week on Brandon March's early season struggles, especially when we thought he was going to be out 2 to 3 games. He ended up playing yesterday, but talked to him prior to Monday's game. Talked to Cody Clemens about him, and I brought up some quotes from a conversation I had with him last year about how he deals with struggles, especially against left-handed hitting, with a fun conversation that he had with Shohei Ohtani back when they were teammates. I'll be in the box tomorrow, so make sure you check me out at Kyle Fisher 45 at Philadelphia SN for Philly Sports Network. Our guy Sean Nestor's in there tonight if you want to give him a follow as well. Weird lineup tonight. I'm interested to see comments about this tomorrow when I get a chance to talk to Topper. Schwarber getting the start in left field. Real Muto DHing. Marchand behind the plate. No Stott, no Kepler, who had 2 hits last night. No Marsh against the lefty Robbie Ray. So it'll be interesting to see this game go down. See how Schwarber does out in left field. Hopefully there's a little less wind for him, easier time for him. But I'll be going down to the ballpark tonight. So you won't see tweets from me tonight. I'm going down with the family for a night off, and then I'll be back down there tomorrow in the booth, probably alongside our guy Luke, getting some more info. So once I know more, I'll tweet it out. You guys can see what we got cooking over there.
Kyle Fisher 45 on socials. Bang up job as always. Kyle, can't thank you enough for hanging with me here. Let's do it again soon. Before we get out of here, Colin Cowherd with a tweet Now, Colin's got his ear to the ground when it comes to all things California sports. He says, I am told moments ago, Nico is going to UCLA. Family still claims it's not about the money. It's about Vol's offense. I was not told what Bruins are paying. Yeah, I just felt like they were going to meet that number no matter what. Nico's going to end up at whatever Division I program in California. It's where he's from. UCLA, no surprise there, if that is, in fact, where he ends up. But something to keep our eyes on, and we'll see what happens because he's a hell of a talent. Anyways, Kyle, great stuff. Coming up next, we're going to stay with the NFL conversation. Ryan Beefcoil, Nick McClay, sleepers when it comes to the NFL draft. 5 o'clock, back over to the world of the NBA. Sean Bernard joins me. We talk all things NBA playoffs. 6 o'clock, Rory finally got over the hump, won a green jacket, 17 years in the making. Find out what Moose, Mays, and Danielle have to say. And then 7 o'clock, more NBA conversation with Sam Ostry and Sean Bernard. Everybody, good luck on those plays. I'll be back live tomorrow at 3 p.m. Go Phils.
Great news. The cash contest is back. The Gambler wants to put some bonus bucks back in your pocket. All you have to do is keep it locked right here to the Gambler, and at the top of